What the is we doing?
All right. So welcome back, everybody. So today we will have a discussion. I don't think either of us have alcohol, correct?
No, I'm with seltzer.
I have absolutely nothing. We drank it all yesterday. So, um, cheers. So
Cheers.
today, let's have a conversation about playing not to win versus, or playing to win versus playing not to lose. Um, we've talked about this before, so definitely hitting on a topic that we discussed, but I kind of want to go back to it now, given that time has passed and obviously life circumstances have changed. So, on your perspective and kind of going from the situation where you are currently,
hmm
playing to win versus playing not to lose. So, the concept itself is pretty simple, right? It's pretty self explanatory. But when you put the perspective on a particular situation or a particular individual, that's going to change, right? So, right now, if you want, just kind of like work it as an exercise. Where are you currently in life? And then from that perspective, how would you go about playing to win? And then how would you go about not playing to or playing not to lose? And we can
Yeah,
use it as an exercise.
sure. So where am I in life? I what do you mean with that? Like on anything?
Just like what's your current position in life? Yeah.
All right, so I think on my current position, I'm always aiming to play to win. That has been my kind of like perspective always. The way that I see like playing not to lose is kind of like a safer option, kind of like you playing the defense. Like if we compare it to like any sport, playing not to lose is kind of like playing defense all the time and just hope that the other team makes a mistake for you to take advantage and actually score and then keep
Mm.
defending until this happens. It's kind of like that strategy. Whereas playing to win, you're actually trying to score a goal, trying to, win the game as much advantage as you can. So it's riskier because you're not defending as much. Because you can do both, but usually you just put more of your energy in attacking and just trying to win. So I think that's kind of like where I see myself right now in my position. Like, um, trying different things, doing different things. Day trading is one thing that I've been picking up lately. I'm building my own brand, my own website that, and I'm constantly failing. So I think that's kind of like a sign that, I'm trying and trying different things and not just stuck there and accepting my situation, but I'm trying to like improve it, you know. But later on, I do see myself at some point, maybe when I have a family, I think that will be the case that I will consider, just playing not to lose, just playing it safe. I think situations in your life might change the perspectives that you approach, and different factors can play on it as well. Like, yeah, I think that's my answer. What about you?
Yeah, yeah. So again, the reason why I kind of just wanted to start it as an exercise, right? Because oftentimes what you're going to find is in life,
hmm
again, whether it's actually a game, like you're playing some sort of sport, or whatever you're doing as your profession, whatever you're doing as your career, whatever life circumstances you currently are in, you always have the option to either do something that's going to be very risky and can be very rewarding, or you can do something that's very safe. You'll know what the outcomes are just simply because it's something you've always done, and it's not going to push any boundaries, right? You'll be relatively fine. You'll be in a comfortable position. The thing is, when you play it safe for too long, that becomes a problem. When you play it risky for too long, that's also a problem. So it's finding this balance where you need to, at a certain point in a certain stage of whatever the situation is, whether it be life, a game, your career, you have to be able to risk something, right? You have to be willing to take chances on opportunities, on, you know, business ventures, starting your own company or doing your own thing, simply because you have the ability to bounce back. A lot of people, when they're young, that's usually what they do. If they're going to go ahead and try to make something dramatic out of their life or do something big with their life, right? They'll make big, risky plays in order to hopefully get something to pan out. On the other side, as you start getting older and you start having more responsibilities, you have a family, you have obligations, that's when you want to start taking things a little bit easier, a little bit slower. You want to make moves that's not going to, make a big splash, simply because you don't have the time to bounce back anymore. And that's kind of the dichotomy of, playing to win versus playing not to lose. You need to understand what season you are in your life, like what stage you're at currently. Can you afford to make risky plays? And if it works out, awesome, you'll be in a much better position. Or are you not, right? Usually it's an age thing. Starting young, like you can be riskier, compared to getting older, you have to play it a little bit safer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you got anything to add to that?
No, I was going to mention the age thing because, during like teenage, like during that transition of teenage to adult, like until you probably mid-30s or so, probably just his 20s, let's say. That's kind of like the age that you want to risk it all. Like no matter what the outcome is, you want to take risk, explore, adventure, and just get out of your comfort zone and get to know you even better. Since that way you can, like you mentioned, like you can try something new, you like it, you eventually find your purpose and you continue on and so on, and you pass this as a legacy to your children later on. And once you reach that maturity, you can start playing it safe. And even then, like you can take risks, but it wouldn't be as riskier than what you took like in your 20s. That's the way I see it. Like I don't see myself ever not trying new things or new ventures, just because like I have a family or so. Like I definitely, there will be my priority, but I will make sure that I have built something sustainable, like like their own circle, and then like how we always mention that when you try day trading, you always have that money aside that you are willing to lose. So we have the same kind of perspective going on later on. So yeah, I think you got it right. Like it's definitely seasonal. For me, on my stage in my life right now, I'm definitely on the season that I need to be playing to win, and I want to be playing to win rather than going for safer options. And that's why I'm going to backpacking next week. Honestly, yeah.
There you go. Right, because now, again, it opens that spectrum of potential for an individual, right? The more you play risky or play to win, you open that spectrum of potential of who you are and who you want to become and everything that's possible out of your life. And then eventually you'll get to a point where you've like not necessarily maxed out your potential, but you've given yourself enough of a range that you can do a lot of different things and you're very comfortable with the life that you have, and you do things that you genuinely enjoy. You wake up and you like the life that you live, right? You're not regretful of anything. That's when you can start scaling back a little bit, again, playing not to lose and managing where you focus your attention, where you put, money and assets and allocations, how you go about maneuvering with things like your family, your loved ones, and any other things that you're investing. But again, you only get to that point because you have that range. If you never develop the range, if you never go the full spectrum, if you never played to win in the first place, then you'll always be in this constant state of regret, right? Like you've never fully developed yourself in the capacity of like, who am I as an individual? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? How far can I take the things that I want to do? Right. So again, in my perspective, like I can just stay working in a gym setting for big commercial gym settings, or eventually I'll have to make a transition to do something else, right? Whether that be my own business or completely changing careers, but doing something that's going to get me out of that comfort zone and try to see how far I can take things. everybody has that situation in their life. Uh, it's different again for different people, different situations, different careers, but everybody usually has something like that, and you're going to have to make a conscious decision. And again, that's not to say that there's a right and wrong here. Like, you can play it safe if you want for the rest of your life, and you'll be fine. But I can promise you that, you know, things will be very boring and very stale, and eventually things will not pan out in the way that you want, right? And if you play it safe for too long, again, it becomes a problem simply because you don't get to see what else is out there. And that usually goes hand in hand with you going along with other people's expectations, right? Like, if your parents expected you to do this and that's the only thing that you ever do, like, I'm telling you, you're going to be very regretful. And like, you can have conversations with individuals that have done it, and they'll tell you that they're very regretful that they never pursued their aspirations or they never did the things that they wanted to do. But again, at the end of the day, it's your decision. You have to come up with the solution that works for you. Sometimes people are not in situations where, even if they are young, they can't play risky just because maybe they just have a lot of responsibilities, right? For example, you can take, like, you know, you're the older sibling of like 3 or 4 brothers and sisters, and you're basically the one that's providing care for them. That becomes a problem where you can't really be that risky because you don't really have the range. And that's an unfortunate situation. But again, it's kind of finding the silver lining in things and trying to get yourself in better situations. And that's the whole idea of playing to win to begin with. It's so that you're in a better situation a couple months from now, a couple of years from now, so that you're not stuck exactly where you are like a year from now, right? Like, if you're sitting in the same position that you were a year before, you know, that's saying something, right? And then we go back to, like, what season are you in right now? If you're playing to win and you're in the same place you were a year ago, that's not a good sign. If you're in the same place that you were a year ago, but you're playing not to lose, that's actually a good thing, because again, you're not going backwards, you're staying in place. But yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm want to go with that. Anything else you want to add?
No, yeah, I have something to add to it. I feel like the default mode for most people, I don't know if this might be a little bit cultural, at least for like within the Latino community. We are thought to play to be safe, play not to lose. I think that's kind of like our viewpoint, or that was my viewpoint in the past as well. Like, do this, get a job, be steady, and never risk it. And I have seen this within the community about how, let's say somebody goes to an interview to get a job, and it's like, oh, I didn't take it because it didn't pay well. But then their parents are like, okay, but now you don't have anything. So we're kind of forced to like take, we don't give ourselves that the value, the worth that we deserve, or like others getting it. We take the first option, whatever comes, and that's the reality for a lot of people. Just because people immigrate, so they have debt and they're trying to like kill that. So it's definitely situational and it's definitely unfortunate. But if, like you mentioned, if, let's say you are here today and you're not in a better situation a year or 2 years from now, it just means that you're not doing or aspiring for better things. You're just stuck in the same pattern that previous generations did. So I think it might be something cultural. I don't know if how other cultures honestly be on this, but I do see other people, like other cultures at least, encouraging like more risk, take risk, and like if you're not comfortable being somewhere, just do something else. And the times like that, I was fortunate enough that I kind of got out of my comfort zone after high school, and I got exposure to the world, like how other cultures interacted with other cultures, and that's why I like to travel, because I like to see how other people live, and that told me that I need to actually take risk, and it's on me to kind of like put the work, put the hours, and actually make something out of it. And just trying to play to it's playing to win. But yeah, I'm always
Right.
being competitive too, so I don't know if that's a factor on somebody's personality.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure competitiveness definitely is one of those things that contributes to that mentality. Um, I've always been very competitive at a young age, so that kind of it goes hand in hand. So perhaps if you're not a competitive person, then you'll play it safer. Again,
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that. Like we've had this discussion before as well about like right and wrong. There's
Yeah.
just choices and consequences, right? If you make a choice and it's playing it safe, then you'll probably be in the same position a couple of months from now. But if you play a risk here, and again, there is a risk, right? Like you could be in a worse position. Like
Mm.
you take a risk, and a year from now, you're actually in a worse position you were now, or than you were a year before. Um, but that's the dichotomy, right? Like you have to make choices, and if things pan out, great. And if they don't, what are you going to do? How are you going to go out of your way to bounce back, right? Like, are you going to sit on your laurels and, blame the world for not succeeding, or are you going to learn from the mistakes, learn from the failures, adapt, grow, overcome, and use different strategies, different methodologies to get to where you want to be?
Mhm.
That's what makes the difference between somebody that's successful and not, right? So,
Resiliency.
yeah.
I think it's all about being resilient at the end of the day. No matter how the day was good or bad, if it was shitty, make sure that tomorrow is better. And I think that's the way that I see it, at least. Not putting time frames. I think today and tomorrow is kind of like more of uh a saying, an expression, saying that if you're not, time is irrelevant, honestly. It's what's the name? Remember that Netflix movie? Time is a concept of, forgot. Anyways, I'm
Gotcha.
deviating from the topic. But yeah, like you mentioned, different choices, different outcomes. That's pretty much it. There's no right or wrong answer, honestly, on playing to win or to playing not to lose. But we can do some examples. So let's see. Because I feel like when you play sports, it's kind of like these terms also play hugely hint, especially in pool. Like able,
Yep.
like you can try to win, but if you make a mistake, you can win faster. But if you make the mistake that you hit the able inside, then you lose, and the other player wins. But then you can chill, you can not really try put the work on it and hope that the opponent makes the mistake and you win. That's the way that I see it. Like every time that I think about this concept is that, you know.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it, right? And again, different scenarios will dictate how that turns out. Like when you're playing pool, that can be the situation, right? You either risk it and try to make the play, or you just wait for the other person to make the mistake. And it could go back and forth, right? Like you guys can both be waiting for each other to make a mistake, and then it just takes forever. Um, Again, choices and consequences.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, some other examples, right? So again, from my
Oh,
perspective, it's yeah, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say now going to like more competitive sports, like let's say soccer, you're actually trying to win. Unless you are, there's certain once again, is a scenarios where you don't necessarily need to win. You just need the points of tidying up, and then you pass in the next round. There's a whole concept, but there are seasons even in soccer where you have to win, and in the other ones you have not to lose. Something like that. But anyways, sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's all good. So yeah, I mean that's really it. I don't know how much more we can add on in terms of examples. Again, you gave your example, right? Like a simple way to like personally put the concept into your life is either you go back to corporate America doing a safe job, or you know you make some risky plays, go backpacking, try different ventures, different opportunities, see what works, see what you like doing, learning from the mistakes, and then adapting, right? Again, similar situation with me, kind of either stick with the same corporate job forever, which is something that people do, and don't think that, job security is the thing because you can be let go at any moment,
Yeah.
and then you'll be scrambling, right? Realistically, the best solution is always to have backup plans and or like have your own thing, because when you have your own thing, you don't really need to rely on anybody other than yourself and the
Mhm.
business that you build. And again, that's kind of going in the realm of creating what's called anti-fragility, right? So that's actually a book that we could recommend and should probably read, where it goes into like this concept of like when shit goes really wrong, do you become stronger or do you kind of become weaker over time, right? Anti-fragile is somebody, or it's an individual that has created a life for themselves that even if things don't go their way, they get better over time, whether that's the business or the individual, your health, all that. So that's something that we can definitely dive into a little bit later on, or we can dive deeper into it later on. And you can read that book as well. I'm pretty sure it's called Anti-Fragile.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
It's called, I just Googled it. It's called Anti-Fragile by Nassim Nicholas Taleb.
yeah, I think a lot of it is in relation to business, but it can be applied in different aspects of your life.
I think, yeah, just by the subtitle. So the book itself is called Anti-Fragile, Things That Gain from Disorder, Incerto. I think that's an interesting concept because like it's always like that, for some major change to happen, you need chaos first.
Yeah,
Some
it's the only
order,
way.
you need some chaos. Yeah. So I think that concept is interesting. I'm gonna add it to my wait list. I'm reading 2 books right now. So, well, actually an audiobook and a book. So I still need to wrap those up. But anyways, I think we can wrap it up there. It's a straightforward concept, to be honest, and it might not be known for a lot of people actually. This concept of playing to win and playing not to lose, but somehow you cut it off.
Me?
Yeah, you like
Cutting off how?
you move.
Oh, it's probably because the battery on the phone is about to die.
Damn, bro.
It's,
All right,
either that or the connection is going down. Anyway, we're at our ends here. So
we done here. We will catch you next episode.
on the
Cheers.
next one. Cheers.
Get some coffee at least.
No, I already drank it. I don't have any more coffee either.
This is a conversation between friends.
None of what is said here should be taken as legal advice.
We are not experts in any way.
Take what resonates and leave the rest.